Let's look at some of the advanced fee enforcements, right? The CFPB made it clear that charging clients before they achieve the results and verified is a direct violation of both CROA and the Telemarketing Sales Rule. So if your business is to go ahead and send letters on a monthly basis, there should be no conversation before or after about the results. You can send them, the results. You can send them emails about their results on a monthly basis. You can provide them with CRM portals so that they can track their progress. You can give them all that stuff. But you can't guarantee and have your conversations around other than we're sending letters on a monthly basis. If they ask you how many points is it going to affect their score if X or Y get removed, stay away from that. That is something that you cannot answer. What you can say is that if they stop disputing, they stop getting results. That's a true statement. If they do nothing, they will get nothing. As a matter of fact, statistically, if they do nothing, 25% of customers can have errors on their credit reports. A study performed by the Federal Trade Commission. And some of those errors could cause a material denial of credit when the customer least expects it. That's also a fact. Also within the Federal Trade Commission study, as well as others. So never collect payments first, and be very careful to make yourself bound to the telemarketing sales rule. If you're bound to the telemarketing sales rule, that adds a whole complication to your billing. Not only can you not collect right after the service is performed, there's a stay. There's a period of time, which I believe is about 6 months, before you can get paid on something you did 6 months ago. So be very careful. If you're on a monthly recurring revenue model, that means that your monthly payments don't start, or even your consultation payment can't be taken until 6 months after the consultation is performed. Well, that puts everybody in an uproar, right? But the way to stay away from that is not talking to that customer until that customer has selected the service, signed an agreement, and provided you with valuable consideration. That means that they can provide you with their credit card information or account information to pull funds when they're ready to do business. And then and only then can you talk to them. Can you chat with them on an open chat on your website? Yes. Can you chat with them on a video call? No. Can you chat with them within your ScoreCEO portal with a chat in a secured portal with your own private chat? Yes, we give you that ability in ScoreCEO. If you have Talk2, if you have Fresh Chat, if you have Zendesk, whatever widget you have will work in ScoreCEO and will only be between you and your customer in a secured environment. Okay, that's one of the takeaways from ScoreCEO. We've had that from day one, by the way. Since we released ScoreCEO, we've been in a secured environment, and we've provided the ability to customize and interface with this for about a year and a half now, if I'm not mistaken. Can you correct me if I'm wrong, Jasmine, or Ms. Fira?
You're correct.
Yeah. So, we don't want to say things that are misleading. Like I said earlier, erase bad credit fast, new credit identity. That really irks me when I see that. Get your own CPN number. By the way, our next topic is going to be on that on our next webinar, and we're going to talk about that. And you'll hear my opinions on that. It's great to have like influencers and stuff and have really great marketing prowess and strategies. But when you get third parties involved, remember that they get paid by commissions or sales that you are performing, because they're providing you with a bullhorn to go ahead and promote your services to their audience, which they've created a trust with. That's why the influencers are called influencers. They influence people. You have to be very careful, because the CFPB and the FTC are going to come in hard and fast at this. So you have to really pay attention to what your influencer marketing is saying. Pay attention to it, because if they're saying something that's not compliant, you may be doing the wrong thing. Your ads have to match exactly what's on your contract. You can't promise. Yeah, an influencer could say, they fixed my credit, and you could have, and they took me from a 540 to a 720, and that could have happened, but they should accompany that with, that may not happen with you, because they can't guarantee the results, and they said that to me on day one. But they provided the service on a monthly basis, and I got the results. You won't know if you don't try, but they can't guarantee the results. That has to be said by the influencer, because that's the truth. Anything else is misleading or deceptive. Okay? Don't talk to your customers before they've complied and with not being bound to the TSR, unless you're okay to be bound to the TSR. If you're okay to wait 6 months to get paid and it's within your business model, more power to you. I'd like to talk to you, by the way, because I've not met one company yet that's willing to do that. But if you are in agreement with not being bound to the TSR, you can't have your phone number on your website. It can't be on your letterhead. It can't be on your email signature screens. You can't have any of that there. You can't have it on your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page, your X page. Can't be on Instagram anywhere. They have to follow a process, and that process has to be done digitally. It should be self-explanatory and simple on the web. So if you need help modernizing your websites, at Score, we also have a service that can customize those experiences for your customers, whether it's our website or any website that you have. Okay, but you want to pay attention to those details. Now, once they get into your portal and once you have them on a chat, you can engage them. You can have your chat proactively engaging them through AI, helping them navigate, answering their questions, feeding the AI agent the correct questions and answers, and learning from it, or having somebody doing it for you. But the reality is, you can't talk to customers on the phone or on a video chat, okay, before they purchase, or before they set the expectation of purchase. That binds you to the TSR. If we wanted, once again, Jasmine, if you can post a link to that webinar or any documentation that we have that, please go ahead and do so within the chat so that everybody can go ahead and visit that. Either our blogs, Masfida or Almas, if you're on the call, let's go ahead and add that for our audience today. Record keeping and documentation. You know what happens when you connect through Zapier to everything else out there? Decentralization, and therefore much more record keeping and documentation in different platforms. That is a problem. At ScoreCEO, we do your billing, and we've always done your billing without involving a third party. The only third party that's involved is Authorized.net, which everybody needs to do business with some sort of merchant processing backend. And ours is Authorized.net, the largest company in the world. Others support other platforms, but they're just as good. But you want to manage that experience yourself, because you want to be able to audit that experience and have detailed, very copious records and logs around what was charged, when it was charged, and time-stamped. You want to be able to see that. If one of my customers get audited by the CFPB or the Federal Trade Commission, what I suggest that they do is create a username and a password and say, you can go ahead and take a sample of any of the customers there. By the way, these are the known issues that we've documented, corrected, and these are the corrective actions that we've performed on such and such day. This is our compliance log and violation log, and how we've corrected and proactively corrected that within our business. We predicate our business on compliant business. That's what they want to hear. They want to see self-regulation. They want to see that you're promising what you're delivering. They want to see that you're not charging up front, and that what you say is what you do, and therefore what you charge for. And that you're not bound to the TSR, and if you are, that you're charging 6 months later. That's what they want to say. And the only way you do that by having one central place to go ahead. Now, we support Zapier. Zapier can talk to through Zapier. You can go ahead and or exports. You can go ahead and talk to QuickBooks, for example, or fire off some marketing campaign in some other software. You can do a lot of things with our Zapier interface, and we love that it can keep you versatile. But the core logging of everything should be done in ScoreCEO. That means when the lead comes in, what you say to them within a script, how you manage your workflows, what you do first, when you do the consultation, how does that consultation date refer or rely on the date that you took that first payment for the consultation fee? And did you write anything down and document that? Can you create custom notes as well as canned notes and add them to your customer? Yes, you can. Can you automatically do that within campaigns? Yes, you can. Can you drive internal actions for customer service and compliance with tags and tag lists and campaigns and combining tags? Yes, you can. If you're interested in any of that, book a call with somebody from our offices and we'll help you how to put ScoreCEO on steroids. Okay, this is something that you can do. Record keeping and documentation. If your software doesn't have it and just provides you simple emails that go out to tell your customer what the results are and welcome to the program and why you should buy my services rather than not. Well, everybody does that. But what can you do to keep your company running and be able to manage that in a compliant way? That's a whole different thing. Are your transaction PCI DSS compliant? That's important. That if they're not PCI DSS compliant, that means that they're black boxing information somewhere. That means that they're keeping CVV records in some software database, and that software database could be compromised. And if it is, you can have a big headache after that because somebody didn't do their due diligence. Some of our customers complain about, hey, what happens if they delete, if we deleted the CVV code or they changed the card, we can't charge them. And I said, well, that's the law. We've got to either break the law or abide by it. What do you want to choose? It sounds harsh, but there's no other way to look at it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a harsh business. And we get rid of that harshness by compliance. Okay, we want to use systems like ScoreCEO that can log and timestamp. And more importantly, what if you're legally doing business and you've taken the time and effort to get your licensing and bonding in different states so that you can deliver not only a federally compliant service, but a state compliant service by offering the right contracts with the right verbiage and the right letter font size with the correct disclosures. Okay. Well, do you have to do that manually? Do you have to have a contract in some some DocuSign or a Dropbox e-sign software that you have one for every state and you have to make that choice every single time? Or does your software carry a compliance module that lets you enter all those compliance parameters and fills out all those documentations for the state of California, for example, if you're legally licensed and bonded to do business in California, or the state of Louisiana, right? Or Illinois, right? Or Florida, which requires nothing other than an optional bond. Okay, these are things that you should pay attention to, and your software platform should help you automate that stuff so you can focus your time on providing great customer service and great follow-up and ensuring that your processes are kept as compliant as possible, because that backs up what you're going to do or what you're saying on these letters that you're sending out on a monthly basis or paying someone else to do it on a monthly basis. You want to be transparent with the customer. Tell them what it's all about. Tell them what the bad actors do and how you're different. All right. You want to set the appropriate results, realistic result. Tell them, hey, there's nothing that I can promise you as to results, or even get this removed, but I can tell you what we can do we've done historically, and that changes from month to month as we lay out different numbers. But this is the trend. That doesn't mean it's just like the stock market, right? You're a person that has a Series 7 or Series 4 license can't come to you and say this annuity or this this bond has performed at a 15%, or this ETF has performed at a 15% payback for the last 30 years, and you're going to get 15% for the next 5. The market could crash tomorrow, and and then what happens? That's exactly what the CFPB does not want us to do with our customers. So we have to lay the right expectations out there. Not what could happen, but what has happened. And all that does is build credibility in our businesses. Fair Credit Reporting Act 1996 was created to regulate the credit repair organizations in the space. The principle was to ensure transparency and accuracy, right? Rules that we must follow. Federally, we need to have written contracts. Federally, we need a 3-day cancellation period. We have to be truthful in the way we advertise. That means that what we have in our contract must represent what we say in our sales pitch or in our sales scripts. Okay, we have to have the required consumer disclosures, like the federal disclosure, right? At a minimum, some states require additional verbiage in their disclosures, additional rights to cancel and things of that nature. We have to do that automatically. We can't take fees in advance of services. Why does it matter? It's the only foundational piece of legislation that regulates or provides some sort of shed some light on how credit repair organizations should operate. Right? And the FTC is going to enforce that. That's under their area of responsibility. But guess what? Now the CFPB as well. Okay, it's already been proven. Just look at the legal case with Lexington Law and CreditRepair.com. And it's not just credit repair organizations; it's credit repair service providers too. So if you're selling CPN numbers and you're selling, adding somebody to somebody else's credit card out there, pay attention, because you're on a list somewhere or will be on a targeted list. Okay, non-compliance can result in civil penalties, lawsuits, refund orders, or redressing of that, and bans from operating, like banning Lexington Law for 10 years to pick up the phone. Following the CRA builds trust and credibility. What is equal is not an advantage. If you are bound to all of this, embrace it and brag about it so that you can preach compliance. That's what we're trying to do. That's what I did since the moment I wasn't compliant and proven not to be compliant in the credit repair space, business space. When I was a credit repair organization, I made mistakes and I paid for them dearly. Hundreds of thousands of dollars lost, employments lost, lives shattered, right? And we were trying to do the right thing, but we were not being counseled correctly. We were not asking the right questions, and more importantly, we weren't following the consult that we were being given. So what did I do after that? The opposite. I did everything to it. Not only that, I am probably in our business the most negative person when it comes to compliance. What if we use a different mouse? Will we be compliant? That's the way I look at things now because of that. Because now my responsibility is really, from my perspective, encroaches upon all of the credit repair organizations that gives us the privilege to do business with them. So if one day you hear something from me on a conversation that is overprotective, there's a reason behind it. And the code represents that. The design of the software always represents that. If you talk to anybody in our business, they will tell you that I always ask the question, is that compliant? You guys should do the same thing. Credit Repair Organizations Act regulates you guys and ladies. Fair Credit Reporting Act was created to protect the consumer, right? It ensures fairness, accuracy, and privacy. Okay? Accuracy and integrity of disputes. All disputes should be factual. And they should be verifiable and supported by documentation. If you're saying that something doesn't belong to me, it's not mine, or it's in duplicate, you better have some compelling proof. Proof isn't what needs to be explained. Proof is compelling. That means there's a piece of paper that says this should be this way. If you need to explain it, that's not proof enough. Okay? So you want to take a look at the way permissible purpose. How many of you have contracts out there in your different software platforms that include a permissible purpose clause? Do you even know what permissible purpose means? If you don't, well, you're going to know now. It means you need to have a legitimate reason, a permissible purpose to pull a credit report. Okay. And when there are consumer reports, the permissible purpose is for consumers to monitor their credit, right? But they have to provide you with legal permission to view it and act upon it by them, on their own. They have to give you that permission. It has to be built into your contracts. We have contracts in our ScoreCEO platform, but I exhort every single CRO and we tell them that this is a sample contract that we use, that we've updated over time. The rules haven't changed a whole lot, but it has a permissible purpose clause. You have to make sure that you have all the clauses in there that you need. You're responsible for that. That's why I gave you the disclaimer at the beginning of this webinar, because we know a lot, but we don't know anything and everything. We claim to know what we know and no more than that. That doesn't mean that we're the only opinion in town. There are a lot. We have attorneys that we consult to, experts that we consult to. We ask questions. We've asked questions in the past from NACSO, from Greenspoon and Martyr. They have defended successfully credit repair companies that have been engaged by the Federal Trade Commission. My ex-partner, God rest his soul, had a friendship with Gene Noonan, which was a consultant for the Federal Trade Commission, legal consultant. We consulted with her. We probably were the first to have an E&O insurance that was protecting us from local and federal legislation. Okay, E&O and D&O insurance in the industry. We've been around for a bit. Okay, but that doesn't make us think that we know everything. We know that there's somebody else that knows more than us, and I think you guys should adopt that. Permissible purpose is something you need to have in your contracts, ladies and gentlemen. Reasonable investigation by the furnisher, right? Once the dispute is submitted, furnisher, like lenders, they've got rules they need to comply with as well. They need to conduct a reasonable investigation. That means there has to be an E8 tick on the credit report. That means that they have to mark that they've investigated. If it doesn't, somebody broke the rule. That is what companies sue for. There are some statutory violations that could be included there when furnishers make mistakes like that. I believe they're called Fair Debt Collection Practices Act litigation, not only Fair Credit Reporting Act, but FDCPA litigation as well. So you want to understand what happens on the other end as well. Clients' privacy and data security, PII. Be very careful with platforms and the way you store your customers' personal information. Okay, I would say compare this industry to HIPAA guidelines as well. Okay, because there isn't any strict ruling, but if you comply, if you act as if you were a medical institution and sharing medical information, okay, you want to be almost in the realm of that as an internal policy. You want to go ahead and take that personal information, and it looks really cool that when you open up their profile, it shows you their social security right on the screen, and it only prints it on one page, all together on one page. And what great software! But guess what? You and everybody in Lottie Dottie is looking at their social security number. That should be protected. Okay, you want to make sure you store that in a protected way and not display it openly. You want to make sure that credit card numbers and social security numbers are masked. You want to make sure that you're not saving CVV codes in your software. Leave that to the companies that get paid to store that, like authorized.net. All right, that's the way we do it. It looks like we're doing it for you, but it's not. We have a very intuitive and very clean integration with authorized.net. Record keeping and documentation. If you get audited, you give access to the Federal Trade Commission or the CFPB to your service. If it's ScoreCEO, they can see everything. They can even require us to provide them with the information, and we will. Okay, that's why it's important that you follow the rules. Okay, and you have it in one central location. Once it gets complicated, fees start racking up. When I was engaged by the local regulating body, I had to pay for weeks of investigation from every agent that was in our office. I had to pay their salary at a rate of $1,000. I believe it was a week or a month, plus any of the fines that we had to pay. Believe me, it was uncomfortable, to say the least. So the more complicated it is for them, the longer they're in your office. The easier it is for them, they might not even come to your office. They might just log in remotely. Okay. So I'm not saying that's what they'll do. I'm saying can make it easy by having a simple way to have a central repository for that. And ScoreCEO is the environment for that. Has everything there, the outcomes, the records, supporting documents. They can audit every case, when you took the money, what date you took the money, when you provided the consult, the attestation of it within a remark. Every time you pulled a credit report, either the first credit report or the ensuing credit reports, if the customer, you needed them to sign a disclosure or attestation of the work that they were going to do, they could do that in their portal through a dispute plan that they could accept. Okay. I don't think there are a lot of platforms that do all of that in one centralized facility. ScoreCEO has been doing that part of it since we released the software. And this matters because it avoids penalties, lawsuits, reputational damage, provides you with better credibility with everyone. Okay, compliance with CROA and the CA and not being bound to the TSR will keep you well funded, and you'll have all of the documentation that you need within one system. Let's look at the TSR requirements. 6-month rule, advanced fee rule. If I was in the credit repair space, I would be very concerned with this. You cannot charge or accept payments for credit until all of this. 6 months. I just see the 6 months. That's all I see, the 6 months. 6 months after you perform the work. Wow. How do you stay away from that? Don't don't talk to your customers and establish expectations on the phone until they've established their own expectations and agreed to do business with you legally on their own. And you can prove that through workflow. We have established workflows like that. Jasmine, can you go ahead and share your screen? And do you have a portal that you can show something like that that customers can do on their own within a consumer portal? Jasmine?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. Yes, I'll share my screen now. Give me 1 second. Just getting my screen ready. Okay. Can you see my screen, Joshua? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Jasmine? We can't hear you if you're talking. You're on
Oh,
mute.
sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know why I went on mute. Okay. So, would you like me to
So
go
we
over
have,
first?
so this is a consumer portal, right? And
Mm-hmm.
consumers and score normally in most software platforms out there, you only give a portal to a customer. In Score CEO, you can give a portal to a lead. So that means that you can, this area here, the area that's demarked under the referrals, points earned, and total referrals, that area is completely customizable. You can have your own chat widget on the bottom that is only managed by you and only your company, as well as all of the information that and the steps that they need to do to follow a completed process before they go ahead and create an appointment with your company. Okay, so these are like they can review and sign the agreement. They can enter their personal information. They can enter their card details. They can order reports directly from here. They can enter their credit monitoring credentials for you if they want, and they can upload their documentation. I have other customers that the last step is to open up a Calendly site and go ahead and book a call with the CRO, a
Mm-hmm.
video call. But that's only done after they've done the rest. You should not be that's only done after they've selected a plan, that they've entered the credit card details, that they ordered a report, right? That and they provided you with credit monitoring credentials. All of that needs to happen. I would say at least at a minimum credit card and selected the plan that they want to do. And in order for you to sign an agreement, they've got to select the plan first. Okay, because that's the way you've structured your business. You want the good, better, best plan, the monthly or the pay per performance plan, or a mixture of those three. So this is and you can help them out with a chat that pops up. Like you can have a talk to chat or a Zendesk chat that just pops up and lets them know. In this case, this is our chat because we're demoing it for you, but you can have your own chat and your own chat widget in there. And every single CRO can have their own personalized widget that works the same way that it works on your website if you have that same chat. Okay. Any questions on this?
We do have a few questions in the chat, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, one question was, are you allowed to be paid more than the consult fee hourly based on later results that you charged for later? Then it says percent based, percent of the
No.
success end result.
Um, I don't. That's a great question. Um, from what I've seen in the past and the legal battles that have happened between the Federal Trade Commission and customers that have charged, the only thing that has passed muster or has been seen as okay is charging for a service that has a clear and concise start and end point. That means it has to be clear. Like if it's a consultation fee and you give that consultation and provide a summary of that within some written work, and that's in the contract and within your sales pitch, and you charge for that 5 days after you give it, that's legal. What's not legal is for you to charge, or let me say this, or if you charge for sending letters on a monthly basis and you send letters every month and that triggers a charge every month and you charge 30 days after you send the letters, that's charging in arrears, 30 days in arrears. That's legal. If you charge for a service that's clearly defined, like removing a credit inquiry or removing a late payment, or removing a bankruptcy that's erroneously listed on your credit report, right? Well, if they're removed, that's the evidence, and you can charge for that. And ScoreCEO lets you change between payment model plans between customers if customers want to move from a monthly model to a pay per performance model. We've supported that since January 2016. So as for a percentage, that I think in my opinion, I think you need to seek legal consult, but my opinion would suffice to say that it's not clear where that happened. Did that happen because of the first round of the disputes? Did it happen because of the second round of the dispute? A percentage of the score achievable? What is it that you're charging for? If you can't easily explain that, it's probably illegal. That was some guidance that I got from an attorney. If it's not easily explainable, you don't need to do it. Juma says no. I agree. I would say no as well. I would say stay away from charging a percentage. Stick to charging either for your service or the achieved results of that service. You're welcome. Are there any other questions, Jasmine?
Yes, there was another one. It says, can you give your phone number to newsletters signups on other businesses' websites? Sometimes that is not optional.
So if you put your phone number and somebody publishes your phone number, and a customer calls you, and ask you about it's not if they call you that if somebody else publishes your number, like if, hey, I met Jasmine and Jasmine helped me repair my credit, this is her number, go ahead and call her. Jasmine, when I call her, should respond. If she doesn't want to be bound to the telemarketing sales rule, she say, well, yeah, we provide credit repair services, but for us to maintain a legal and ethical relationship, you have to go to the website and follow the process on the website first before I can talk to you about anything credit repair related. It's just the way legal credit repair is done for us not to be bound to the telemarketing sales rule. That's what I respond to, and I would squeeze the customer to the digital process. I know it sounds funky, but that is the rule. Remember, what is equal is not an advantage. So everybody else that's not doing that, well, maybe you'll lose that customer and maybe a bunch of other customers that will go to unsavory players. I guarantee you that if you do the right thing, you will be in business if you do the right things much longer than companies that are planning to do the wrong things from the get-go. That's my opinion. Any other questions, Jasmine?
It says, so are you holding on to the credit card information in ScoreCEO uh, till 6 months after the consultation?
The information that gets inputted by the customer in through their portal inside of ScoreCEO will stay there as long as you require it to be there. As long as the customer is active, you can use that credit card in ScoreCEO to charge for fees. The question is, are you legally able to charge for those fees? Time is not the factor. It really has to deal with whether or not you should be triggering a click charge or automating a charge. I hope that answers that question. Any other questions, Jasmine?
It says, can we have an automated voicemail that says that disclaimer, and then when we give a phone number extension in our agreement online that they can use after they become customers?
Yes, that's a great that's a great application of that I never even thought of. If you have a voicemail that says that, well, we'd love to talk to you, and you're a voicemail says you're probably have credit repair issues if you've called this number, and to get you started first, legally and ethically, we want you to fill out the following information and pre-select a service and provide us with information that legally unbinds us from talking to you about the credit repair process. Okay, and get paid for it in a timely manner. So go ahead and go to the following website. As soon as, or when a customer hits your site, man that chat. Man that chat. Don't walk away from your businesses. Don't and just answer the customers. And that's very comfortable. And I get it. Been there, done that. But if you get a customer ping you on a chat, you better proactively have a bot that's engaging them while you're making them wait for no more than 20 seconds. Because if the customer waits more than 20 seconds, they will, your probability to close that customer starts decreasing exponentially. There are some studies around that. You may want to look that up. Okay, so yeah, engage a chat. And if you have any questions, let me know. Try to stay away from answering pricing questions. Just let them know funnel them always to going through the process so you can actually get on a video call with them and answer all their questions and remind them that answering and following that process will not bind them at all to any services. They can choose when you're on the call to not do business and everything gets canceled, even if they did sign an agreement, even if they did select a service. Okay, let them know that they will not be charged, and they will not. And we have videos like that, by the way. If you need anybody that has ScoreCEO, if you want cookie cutter videos that explain that whole process, we've got you on that. We've got them already done. They're all generated, AI generated, and they're pretty cool. Okay, so you can request them at any point in time. Okay. Any other questions?
I don't think I see any more
All right,
questions.
let me go back to sharing my screen so we can go ahead. TSR, we've already talked a lot about this. Remember, I don't want to really go into the mandatory disclosures. If you need a copy of this presentation, just reach out to Jasmine and she'll send that to you or make it available to you so you can refer this and probably train yourself and your personnel. But the idea about the TSR is to not to be bound to it, and not to be bound to it is eliminating all conversations on phones and advertising, the possibility of conversing on the phone. And if they call you, push them towards the website so that they can comply in order for you to be able to talk to them on the phone or on a video call.